Somewhere in Japan tonight, in a small apartment with the lights still on, a person is dying completely alone. No one will call, no one will knock, and no one will find them for a very long time. The Japanese have a word for this: kodokushi. It means the lonely death. And in a country famous for order, harmony, and belonging, it has quietly become one of the most unsettling epidemics of the modern age. Every year, tens of thousands of people in Japan die this way, alone, unnoticed, and undiscovered. Not for hours, not for days, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for months. The stories are always the same and always chilling. A man sits down in his favorite chair one evening, and his heart simply stops. The television keeps playing, the mail keeps arriving, and the world keeps moving without him. The first sign is rarely a person. It is a smell, or a mailbox stuffed so full the letters will no longer fit, or a stain that appears, slowly, on the ceiling of the apartment below. The victims are often elderly. Japan is aging faster than almost any nation on Earth, and millions of its old people now live entirely on their own, in cities full of strangers who never learned their names. But here's the part that truly disturbs. It is not only the old. More and more, the lonely dead are middle-aged. Some are young, people who withdrew from the world long before their bodies ever gave out. Some had cut off their families years earlier. Some had lost their jobs and were too ashamed to be seen. Some simply slipped through the cracks of a society so polite that no one wanted to intrude. In a nation of 125 million people, you can be surrounded by millions and still be invisible. And when you vanish, it can take a very long time for anyone to notice the silence. When a lonely death is finally discovered, an ordinary cleaning crew cannot handle what is left behind. The scene is too far gone, too intimate, too human, and so a very particular kind of specialist is called. They are known as the lonely death cleaners. Small companies who arrive in unmarked vans, dressed in protective suits, to erase every trace that a person was ever there at all. They work in silence and in secrecy. They scrub the floors where a body lay for weeks. They remove the furniture, the tatami mats, sometimes the very floorboards themselves, because the outline of a life does not wash away easily. And as they work, they find the fragments of a whole existence. Unpaid bills, uneaten meals, a single set of chopsticks, photographs of people who stopped visiting, a calendar frozen on the month everything ended. Some of these cleaners say they can feel it in a room, a heaviness, a loneliness that lingers in the walls. Many of them pray before they begin and leave an offering behind so that the spirit does not feel abandoned twice. If stories like this pull you in, take 1 second to subscribe. Every day we go somewhere darker and stranger into the parts of Japan the guidebooks will never show you. The phenomenon grew so common that it changed the country itself. Landlords now dread it. A single lonely death can make an apartment nearly impossible to rent, because in Japan, a home where someone died alone is considered a stigmatized property. There are now entire websites that map these apartments. Renters can search, street by street, for the rooms where someone died unnoticed, often listed at a steep discount for anyone brave enough to move in. Insurance companies began selling special policies to landlords, protecting them against the cost of a tenant dying alone and undiscovered. Death, in Japan, has quietly become a line item on a spreadsheet. But the strangest response of all waited at the very end of the journey. Because in Japan's largest cities, there is now a shortage so grim that few outsiders believe it. There are not enough places to burn the dead. Japan cremates almost everyone, more than 99 out of every 100 people. And with so many citizens dying each year, the crematoriums in cities like Tokyo simply cannot keep pace with the bodies arriving at their doors. So the wait can stretch for 4 days, 5 days, sometimes longer. And a grieving family is left with an impossible question. Where do you keep a loved one while you wait your turn? The answer is a place that sounds like something from a nightmare. A corpse hotel. Quiet buildings, hidden on ordinary streets, where the dead check in and wait, in refrigerated comfort, for their appointment with the flames. They look almost gentle from the outside. Calm lobbies, soft lighting, a front desk. But behind the walls are climate-controlled chambers, sometimes stacked in rows, each holding a person who has nowhere else to be. Families can visit. Some hotels let them stay overnight beside the body, in rooms designed to look like a peaceful bedroom. so they can spend one last night with someone before letting go forever. At the most advanced ones, the coffin slides silently behind a glass window on rails, so mourners never have to see the cold storage where their mother or father truly rests. The illusion of closeness, engineered to the last detail. And every part of this, the cleaners, the stigmatized rooms, the corpse hotels, points at the same quiet truth. Japan built one of the most advanced societies on Earth, and somewhere along the way, it also built a very modern way to be forgotten. The things that once caught a falling person, the family, the village, the neighbor who noticed the curtains never opened, have thinned out. And into that empty space, the lonely death has grown. That is why the government now begs neighbors to check on one another. Why volunteers knock on doors. Why some utility companies watch for water that stops flowing, as a sign that someone inside has stopped as well. Because the most haunting fact of kodokushi is not the smell, or the cleaners, or the hotels for the dead. It is how ordinary it has become. How easily, in a nation of millions, a single life can end without a sound. So tonight, somewhere in Japan, a light is still on in a window. And the only real question that remains is a simple, terrible one. How long before anyone notices it has gone out?